So last week we discussed reports that Alex Van Halen is working on a new Van Halen album, or at least some new Van Halen songs, with none other than Steve Lukather. No doubt that you've already heard about this by now, but if not, for a very, very quick summary, there was an article in a Dutch publication called the Telegraf. The article was actually published in February, but it only began to make the rounds online late last week. I'm not sure if that was because of the language barrier or what, but it did take some time for it to gain some traction. The article is in Dutch, obviously, and it's locked behind a paywall, but I will put a link to it down below if you want to check it out and translate it for yourself. I already read the entire English translation in the last video that we did on this, which is linked below as well. But essentially, in short, the article in English, as according to the transcription from Metal Injection, reports that Alex Van Halen said that he was working on a new Van Halen album, and that since Eddie and Steve Lukather were such good friends and frequently worked together, Alex apparently told the Telegraf, quote, "There is no one who can do this process with me as well as he can," referring to Steve Lukather. The Telegraf then asked Steve Lukather about this while he was on tour with Toto, and he was quoted as saying, "Did Alex say that? Oh, in that case, the news is true. Ed, Alex, and I were very close for years. It is true that we worked on it together." Obviously not a whole lot of information from that initial article from the Telegraf. It really left really a lot more questions than answers, and if you're trying to get to the bottom of it, you kind of had to piecemeal things together based off of that article and then previous interviews that Alex Van Halen did, mainly the one that he did with Rolling Stone. I mean, it's like a treasure trove of information. I'll put a link to it down below, and we will reference that multiple times in this video, as we did in the last video as well. It's a great interview. He did it around the time of the book release. But anyways, you know, to be fair, as far as this article from the Telegraf goes, the extent of which Steve Lukather was going to be involved in this potential new album, the scope of work, was never really addressed, and it led to a lot of rampant speculation and conclusions and theories, for myself included, that Steve Lukather would be playing guitar on said record. But as of this weekend, Steve Lukather clarified exactly what the situation is on his Instagram. As suspected, you know, like I mentioned, that article just recently caught traction despite being published in February. So, you know, when all that news broke last week, I felt that it was really only a matter of time until we got more information, since that article was gaining so much traction. But what's crazy, though, about Steve's post online is that it's not even a post. It's just a comment. He posted a comment on a post that he made 6 weeks ago, actually on January 26th, what would have been Eddie Van Halen's 70th birthday, I believe. So really, his statement about this is somewhat hidden. Here's what he said about it. "For the record, ever since Alex Van Halen dropped some "We Were Gonna Work Together," I think there is a huge misunderstanding. I will not ever play a guitar note on a Van Halen song, ever. Al asked me to help him go through a ton of unfinished recordings of Al and Ed writing and recording that never saw the light of day. As of now, that's all I got. The fact that anyone would think for even a second that I would play on anything on this is ridiculous. I have too much love and respect for that, and I play nothing like Ed, more as a co-producer or something. I am honored Al would ask me, though. Let's see." So it sounds like Steve will really just be involved in sorting through the Van Halen vault, maybe helping arrange some things and putting it together that are unfinished, etc., things like that. Maybe as a co-producer, as he mentioned. Who knows? Maybe he will have more involvement as it all comes together. I don't know. This is all speculation beyond what he said in that post. But one thing that I still am very curious about, we know that there are tons of unreleased songs in the vault, and Alex has previously said in that Rolling Stone interview that most of the material is unfinished and just little pieces. So knowing that, who is going to finish the guitar on these songs if it's not going to be Steve Lukather? Maybe, I don't know, maybe there truly is enough to just put it all together, you know, this riff here, and then we'll take that riff from this one here, etc. I mean, God only knows how much material there really is, but still, you would have to imagine that at least some additional guitar will be needed. And if that is the case, I would love to know who you think would be a good fit. I had a lot of comments on the last video say Dweezil Zappa, which I agree would be cool. I think Nuno Bettencourt would be absolutely excellent for something like this. Truthfully speaking, though, Wolfgang Van Halen is probably really the only person that it should be, and we know that he is way more than capable of playing that kind of stuff. But either way, let me know who you think down below. And as I mentioned in the first video on this, Alex Van Halen did say to Rolling Stone in that interview that he reached out to OpenAI, which is the company behind ChatGPT, about generating solos in the style of his brother. And I mean, I know for a fact I am not alone when I say that that is just not a great idea. Again, we talked about it last time. I am not going to rehash. I'll put a link to that video down below if you want to watch all that. But I will say, as I said in that first video, obviously nobody can replace Eddie Van Halen, especially in Van Halen, but literally anyone is better than AI. So let's hope for the best there. And as far as a potential new album goes, I mean, who knows if it will even happen, or if it does, how far down the road this could be. Also, who else will be involved? Will the songs be instrumental like Unfinished that was released alongside the Book Brothers? If there are vocals, who will be doing it? Will there be multiple vocalists? David Lee Roth, Sammy Hagar? I mean, who knows? Maybe they could get Nuno and then get Gary Cherone, the singer of Extreme. I mean, that'd be cool too. Who knows? All of this is speculation at this point, of course. I'm really just rambling now, but either way, it will be very interesting to see how all of this comes together, if it in fact does come to fruition. But for now, that is all that I got for you. Thanks so much for hanging out. Feel free to drop a like and subscribe below if you feel like it, and I'll see you next time.